Hi, my name is Nancy Smith, and I'm an associate with Idea STEM. And I'm here to talk to you today about something that is really quite important to me and actually to you. We actually check our phones anywhere from 3 to 8 times in every waking hour. Connecting with any technology, for example, like our phones, is called human-computer interaction. With over 5.5 billion internet users, that's a lot of interactions. The meeting point where the human connects with the computer is called the interface. It turns out that there are 3 really important things about the interface we need to consider. First, all interfaces between the human and the computer come with noise. I'll be explaining what I mean about noise shortly. Second, the promise of connection by way of the interface brings significant hurdles. Third, the power to clear these hurdles exists in the humans. In all human-computer interactions, the human comes first. Let's look at this notion of noise. Noted 20th century electrical engineer and mathematician Claude Shannon provided a mathematical way for measuring that static, that noise, that blurriness. Shannon's information theory compares the amount of pure signal we want to send, in other words, the voice, the text, the image, to the amount of noise before the message becomes too garbled to understand. Shannon characterized noise as randomness or entropy. All interface comes with noise. You know that noise. You have lived experience with that noise, that randomness. The sudden dropped call, not predictable. The frozen screen, advanced warning, no. Spotty internet. The people in the cottage areas all parked at the top of a hill trying to get cell reception. Remote workplaces and hybrid learning frameworks generally do not consider how noise gets in the way of the work we do and of the learning we do together in these digital environments. And yet, noise is part of all human-computer interactions. The promise of connection to other humans by way of technology brings significant hurdles. I have lived experience of those hurdles as both professor and student in hybrid courses, and as employee and supervisor in the remote workplace. The biggest hurdle is the myth of convenience, especially when it comes to interface that promises conquering geographical distances and saving time. The claims are that we can work at our own pace, access greater resources in a wider community, develop new skills, and enjoy improved connection with others. Those are all true, but we must acknowledge the noise, the randomness that can be intentional and be intentional about addressing it. Ignoring the noise of the interface, we regularly become wedged in frustrating situations, unable to move, stuck. When I am stuck, my usual reactions are strong feelings of frustration and helplessness, characterized by pressured speech, angry tears, and often unacceptable and coarse language. I'm upset because I cannot change things to achieve my goals. I jump to find a technology-based solution, forgetting that it's called human-computer interaction for a reason. We always start with the human first. To be fair, it is astonishing to be able to simultaneously teach one class of students living in 12 unique geographical locations across an 8-hour time difference. However, I can tell you that randomness and noise are very much felt. The interface comes with its own set of issues, one of which is how to give an online exam when the internet availability is restricted in certain areas of the world. In this case, for the sake of academic integrity, many separate exams were set, creating an extra workload and taking a lot more time. In other words, lots of noise. It is somewhat of a paradox that we can mathematically measure the noise, the randomness that gets in the way of our intended communication, but we are only beginning to appreciate the impact on us in terms of distractedness, isolation, anxiety, and depression. How many of us are familiar with the responses to failures in digital technology scale? There is a scale to how we deal with the noise. It measures our responses in terms of feelings of disconnectedness, feeling diminished, disgruntled, and distressed when the interface noise overpowers sharing any message. Back to the human first in human-computer interaction. What does starting with the human first actually look like? It is a human-centered approach. We start by asking. How did I know the students in my class were in different time zones? I asked. How did I know my student only had internet access for a very short window of time during the day? I asked. How did I know my employee had spotty internet? I asked. We need to prioritize trust-based accountability. Our solutions for addressing the noise and putting the human first are case by case, with appropriate and timely feedback. The focus is on the human first. Remember, it's human-computer interaction. So how do we take steps to address the noise? We consider the very human importance of why we were sending and receiving the message in the first place. Our intention to connect, to share, to be in touch. The solution to address the noise, saving everyone time, energy, and resources to the tune of billions per year, is to be aware that we are using technology, an interface which has no awareness, no conscience, and no accountability to the user. Human-centered approaches that prioritize connecting with the humans help minimize the negative impact that the noise can have. When we consider the consequences and broader effects of noise and randomness in areas such as digital health technologies, international business, organizational teams, and the added complexity of AI, educational frameworks, and especially human AI interaction, the time to focus on the human is now.